And what he's done is unleashed raw, naked aggression and ambition in the Auscar ranks as young chargers now can see the here. Terry Waihoon. Waihoon was second in last year's Auscar Championship. Now he can see the opportunity to lead from pole position. Alongside Waihoon on the front row of the grid is John Faulkner, probably one of the older stages in this event at 37 years of age, but also
result out of it.
Realise, of course, that these grid positions are 31.97.
Yes, I don't think there's, in this particular race, that the fact that they're starting on last year's championship positions.
That originally, but believes he's going to give it a big go here tonight.
Yeah, Jones gave him the car in excellent condition. Matt White has apparently played around with it a little bit to try and make it suit him. That's upset.
For a start here, it's the last corner. The pace car's lights are out. It'll duck off. Now
ready for a start in the Goodyear Auscar Championship 1994-95. First round here at Calder Thunderdome. The green flag waves. And Terry Waihoon leaps to the lead. John Faulkner in second position in the yellow car. Then comes Grant Mundy down the inside of Faulkner. Side by side through turn one.
They're through the
and
first two corners. Yes.
And Mundy won't give up on the inside. Faulkner won't give up on the outside.
Well, the fact that they've run side by side through those first two corners has allowed Waihoon just to skip away with a nice little break at them on one lap.
Faulkner establishes just that slight lead, but can't get down onto the inside of the circuit to consolidate it.
Tonight heralds the introduction of the two new marks, the VR Holden and also the XR8 Falcon with the new sleeker body shapes.
We're riding now with Peter Fitzgerald back in fifth position. In front of him is John Faulkner in the Fisher and Parkell car.
Well, there's a great shot. He's on the tight line round there, holding it tight, and you see that car go around and past him on the high side, and he's now looking to get into the slip of John Faulkner. I'm sorry, John Faulkner.
That, I think, is Bruce Williams, who's really charging.
Yes, Williams has just taken two cars in half a lap. He's certainly on a charge.
Williams has given up his day job to concentrate solely on motor racing this year. Was the director of one of Australia's motorsport magazines, has resigned from all of that and says, I'm going motor racing full time for this season. It's the only way that I can possibly do well.
Faulkner doesn't seem to be quite as quick as normal here. Fitzgerald certainly giving him a monster there. The front three, I think, are settling into a pace now. Grant Munday's there in second spot, running with a basically blue car this year. I think Beau's gone.
Yep, indeed. Quite a number of sponsorship changes this early in the season. Stephen Richards has already moved up to 18th position, incidentally. As we look at car 25, Terry Waihoon. And Waihoon left a huge gap there. Why did he do that,
He just pushed in high, I think. Pushed in high and didn't get the turn down to the bottom of the corner. Certainly let Mundy ride through. And Williams, look at Williams now. He's come from sixth and he's just looking at Marshall Brewer into third spot. Yes, he is. He's certainly on a charge, Williams.
Monday now, the new leader. Behind him is Waihoon, then Bruce Williams. Williams has stripped this car over the winter period. Waihoon, can he do it? Waihoon seems to be leaving doors wide open.
Yeah, early days, maybe he sees that this four are just pulling away a little, so he's going to sit on the back of the four. He may well have decided, but there's no doubt.
Williams on a charge. Look at him now on Monday. Look at this go.
They're running 31, high 31s, 31.9, 32.0, 31.9, so they're certainly on a good race pace.
The lap record, of course, is a 30.721, standing to John Faulkner.
They're on full tanks of gas, though, now at the moment, so that's pretty quick running at this stage of the game.
Oh, here comes Faulkner, all over the back of Fitzgerald.
He's gone. Faulkner's car seems to be running high. I don't think he's happy with that car. He's just slipping back. I think there's the gap is opening a little between the front car, and Faulkner is now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th position.
Just looking at the flags around the circuit at the moment, especially on pit lane, the wind seems to have abated dramatically. Alan, will this be making a big difference to the handling from their setup this afternoon?
No, I don't really think so. As I said, the amount of buffeting that you get in the corners with the G-forces, it really doesn't affect the handling so much. There's so much buffeting going on out there with the wind coming off the cars when they're in such close proximity to each other.
New race leader, Marshall J. Brewer in the 0-2 car. Behind him comes Bruce Williams. Then comes Terry Waihoon. But Brewer just snuck out of the slipstream there and charged into the lead.
Brewer's car from last year, the fast track entry, and was talking to him this afternoon. He was saying the best he could muster was a 31.4. The car's certainly looking a lot better now.
Brewer, one of the great consistent performers of Auscar racing in Australia, been racing the category since its inception back in 1988. Came 9th in that series, 3rd the next year, 2 5ths, a 4th, and came 5th last year in the championship. So he's never been out of the top 10 in the series since its inception. Now Waihoon down the inside of Bruce Williams. Oh, he has lost a wheel.
Robert Burns.
Certainly a flat tyre, if nothing else, Robbie Burns. Perhaps from the inside the car, he doesn't know what's going on. Sort of a case of, oh, what gift the gifty gives. Robbie Burns. To see ourselves as others see us.
Richards has now moved into 10th position also.
Robbie Burns puts it away.
Car safely down onto pit lane now as we pick him up, looking for service.
Jack goes under.
Young Richards has moved up to 9th now also. In fact, 8th that time past. He's really on a charge coming from the back of the field. He's got plenty of ability, this young kid.
I think he'd be the quiet achiever, actually, denied out of that. Burns leaving the pits again, the 20 car, but let me tell you, his problems are far from over. A lot of smoke coming from the back of them. Meanwhile, back at the race, everybody grab your partners. Here it is. Marshall Brewer making a dive on the inside. And there's Burns. You can just see right off screen spewing smoke out the back of the car. But the battle royal certainly going on. Burns heading down the apron and heading back to pit lane. Race leader car 25 is Terry Waihoon. Marshall Brewer coming up the high line outside of car number 7, Rod Jane. And here's a go with Monday down on the low line. He's challenging Williams there, and Williams slams the door on him as they come around the turn. This time it's with 15 laps down.
Well, Richards has picked up 8 positions, I think it is. 8
Race winner, leader, Terry Waihoon.
Let's have a look at his lines in here. Yeah, he's in there that's pretty conservative. Well, he's drifted out a little bit in the middle there. He'd lose a little bit of time there. And he's not using all the road on the way out of the corner, so I'd say he's running a pretty conservative sort of a line. He's certainly doesn't appear to be on any ragged edge, although it's got the wobbles on the way into that corner.
He remarked that he didn't realise how intense the concentration required to be, saying that the only time that he could relax slightly was in the straightaways, and that was to check his gauges.
Yes, it's certainly a concentration business. There's no question about that. And he's running about as quickly as anybody out there at the moment.
Brewer controlling from the front. Right behind him comes Williams, looking for a way on the inside. And then ducking down the inside of him again is Terry Waihoon. Monday lurking on the outside in the blue car. Looking for a way around Waihoon, in fact, from the outside of the circuit. Now as Williams goes down the inside on Brewer and takes back the lead.
And Monday's moved into 3rd again.
And directly behind Faulkner is Peter Fitzgerald. Then Mark Seaton in the Falcon, then Stephen Richards. This is the race for the lead. As Monday now works his way around a slower car. Both sides.
I think they won the best presented car and crew tonight too, which is good to see, that sort of service.
I've got to tell you though, it's not a prize that the guys take with they take it with a caution. That's what I'm trying to spit out. Every time somebody seems to win it, they seem to end up on the back of the wrecker.
Tyres to be able to get maximum, optimum performance out of them. Waihoon, in fact, has made his own buffer now to properly just smooth off the edges of the tyres to give him just a slight advantage on the rest of the field. To his knowledge, the only other person who did that was Brad Jones. And look what happened to Brad, he said.
Yes, indeed. There's some great pictures coming out of the back of that car. And there's Peter Fitzgerald.
Fitz has seen it. It's car 66.
He's managed to stop it. Now, the best thing he can do really is either let it trickle down as he's going to, but keep those brakes jammed on.
Anthony Leach is the driver of the 66 car, and he's got the car going again.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been just a lose. Hanging off the car. Here it is with the tail well and truly out. I think he's just come into that corner too hot. The rears of Matt perhaps locked, and there's a little bump as you turn in there. He's certainly got them all locked up there. He said, if I'm going to hit the wall, I'm going to hit it as slowly as possible, so I get everything locked up. So the car stopped going up the wall there and started to come down. Now, here's where it's difficult for the guys behind because they can see very, very little through that smoke.
Rodney Jane, in fact, emerged from the smoke.
Yeah, did a good job. But as he's had those wheels locked up for the full duration of that slide, they'll be very, very square. So you have to come in and change them. They'll be huge.
Very, very buffed in one spot.
Yeah. Peter Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you're riding with Peter Fitzgerald at the moment. That's young Stephen Richards, 22 years of age, Australian Formula Ford champion. Now, right, and with a pedigree that's immaculate.
Yes, indeed. And this will probably be his first restart. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure Jim, his father, will have been coaching him. But now, there's some of these cars you'll find now are coming in to take advantage of the pace car. There's only one lap to go with the lights going off. This will be a technical attempt to gain a little advantage from the couple of cars that do stop. It's a little bit early in the race for to need a fuel stop.
This is Luke Shields having.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't look good when his mechanic jumped in the car alongside him. They're obviously going to adjust something inside. It looked like he was playing with a gear stick. Actually, it may be that the linkage, they've got a linkage problem.
I'll get Gerald just to check because it may have been in fact a driver change before the start of this race, and it may be Max de Jersey in the Shields entry. So we'll just check on that one. There was a chance there was going to be a last-minute driver change with Luke believing at this stage in time that he may.
On the outside of the circuit, Bruce Williams in second position, Grant Munday in third, and look at Waihoon sprint away. What a sensational start from Terry Waihoon.
Yeah, I think he caught them in a different gear then, you know. He may have well been caught some of them in third gear. He certainly jumped away, but they're pulling him back a little now, I guess. And as I predicted, Peter Fitzgerald and the rest of the field have pulled away and opened a little gap over Steve Richards, but I'm sure he'll pull it back again. There's the view from the front of Peter Fitzgerald's car. What an upside-down Hardy Ducks, isn't it?
Waihoon, Williams, Faulkner, Munday, Brewer, Seaton, Fitzgerald, Richards and Prenny. They're making up the top 9 cars at the moment with 28 laps of this Auscar race here on the first night of the season for 1994-95.
Well, there's the shot out of the back of Peter Fitzgerald's car with Richards closing on him, and it's noticeable that Richards seems to be diving in a tad deeper. It certainly did on that last corner. And there's Peter at work in the office, looking very serious about it all.
Matty White now starting to throw out a challenge. He's just passed Nathan Pretty in 10th position.
So White in the ex-Bradley Jones car. The 23 car we just saw briefly there is the car of Mark Seaton, and he's on a new program with Ford with the new XR8 for this year.
Again, there's a view out of the front of Peter Fitzgerald's car.
Meantime, back to the race leaders, and it's still Terry Waihoon.
And here comes young Richards on the back of Fitzgerald. And this will be very interesting. He's now on the lead bunch. Yeah, he does get in, but he went in a little too hot there. You see him move the car understeered up the wall. He just went in a tad too hot, but he just eased off, got it back again. Now he seems to dive into this corner quite well. And there he comes in. Yep, he did. He picked up on Fitzgerald on the way into that corner.
John Faulkner had been lying in 4th position. He's now challenging for the lead and pulling out on Waihoon. Meantime, back with Peter Fitzgerald.
So with 31 laps of the event down, it's far from over and won.
There's no doubt about that.
Here's the race for the lead, and here's John Faulkner in it. So John Faulkner, car 46, has taken over the lead. Coming through in a 2nd position is Bruce Williams. 3rd is Terry Waihoon. 4th is Grant Munday. 5th is Marshall J. Brewer.
It's been a great battle for these cars have swapped places all the time.
There have been 9 lead changes, Alan, in 32 laps.
It doesn't surprise me. It's
10 now if you take into account Bruce Williams having another go on John Faulkner.
Look at 1, 2, 3, 4. They're both too wide, and it could be 3. Marshall Brewer's not going to be left out of this either. Excuse me. I'll have a piece of that, thanks. Oh, look at this, 3 wide.
Bruce Williams, the new full-time racing driver, really determined to make his mark. No point in hanging about. And he takes over the lead.
Very often both of them have to get out of the throttle just that little bit, and then the field packs up on you, as we're seeing here. Look at that.
Certainly not letting him out of sight as they come around in a bunch. A couple of cars a lap down in that lot there. So caution needing to be taken. Take the rear view from Peter Fitzgerald. Have a look at Stephen Richards right on his hammer now and within striking distance as they go into the turn. We'll watch the line of Richards this time.
Yeah. Well, he's not in too hot that time, and he's been able to get it down the bottom of the track and hold it. I'd really like to see, well, just as I've said, he's pulled the pass. I really would have liked to see Richards sit behind Fitz for a while and just learn a little bit, but he's pulled the pass, a nice clean pass on Peter Fitzgerald. I'd really like to see him now, and I hope that his dad's on the radio telling him just to sit and have a look. There's a lot you can learn from running about behind these cars, particularly a close group of half a dozen cars like that. They're all the first-grade drivers, you call them, of Auscar, and I think there's a lot for him to learn if he can just sit in their slip and watch and learn and just see what happens, how the cars move about, and just try and be the closest possible spectator. I just hope he does that.
Terry Waihoon now back on Bruce Williams and takes over the lead. Grant Munday takes the gap as well and relegates Williams to 3rd position. The longest anyone's led this race so far has been Waihoon. He's led the race for 7 laps of its 36-lap distance.
Only one caution so far with Anthony Leash having a problem on the 3-4 turn. And lots of happenings down in the pits in the meantime as the race goes on.
And Richards has just gone underneath, I think underneath the Faulkner, wasn't it?
He certainly is challenging Faulkner and has gone underneath him. Look at that. Faulkner maybe tyres going off.
Got a fire in the pits.
06 car is Keith Evers.
Like a brake fire. Yeah, look at that disc. You can see it glowing.
Red hot. And Faulkner has retaken Stephen Richards. Well, Richards now coming under some threat from Peter Fitzgerald.
Yes, we've seen Richards out of the rear camera on Peter's car, and now we see it out of the front camera. And Peter Fitzgerald won't be all done and gone with that either. It wouldn't surprise to see Peter get a draft past. But I'd just like to see Stephen sit there and read the textbooks for a few laps.
There's your race leader, Terry Waihoon.
For this pack. And they're still swapping positions all the way too. And there's Fitzgerald's gone round.
Fitzgerald, a big impact.
Hit the
big
bank.
impact.
Yep.
And they missed him on the way down.
Yeah,
miss him on the way down.
Now, I don't know what happened. I can't explain. This is our 2nd caution on the racetrack here at Thunderdome tonight for the Auscar event. But he started leaving a smoke trail from around about halfway down the back straightaway, and all of a sudden the car's gone. So
the smoke's coming out the exhaust as well, so you've got to reckon something fairly terminal's happened in the engine department.
Yeah, well, you see his rear left tyre is still inflated, so that indicates that he didn't cut down a tyre and swap ends.
Let's see what happened now. So there's the leaders. Fitzgerald will be just at the back of that pack. And he's already going backwards, so you've got to reckon that something's locked up.
I would think he's probably lost an engine there. And
Gone in his own oil after that.
Yeah, his own oil after that. We'll soon see where they start putting kitty litter all over the place, but it certainly looks to me like it's locked up and gone.
And let's see what happened from inside the car. So we're now riding with Peter Fitzgerald.
We're at the end of the straight.
Occurs.
Yeah, about to turn into the corner. We'll see the cars peeled down into the bottom of the corner.
It was about now I saw the smoke spewing from the side of the car.
Looks all right at the moment. He looks to be on line there, and the tail looks to be going around now. Yeah, the tail's gone round right there. It slides down to the bottom, and then it'll swap ends. So we'll see the track from the other end as it goes up into the wall. There's the smoke behind us, so we're facing the wrong way, and then bang, there's the impact. Now it'll go back down the track to the infield.
So Alan, where does it leave him? You're coming in at full tilt into the turn. All of a sudden, no power and oil. I mean, there's
oil all over your rear tyres. Absolutely nothing you can do. Just hang on and get ready for the loud noise.
Here we are with Pete inside the motor car, and race cam, of course, has been moved ever so slightly askew. Interesting to watch, see how close Nathan Pretty came to joining that crash. He ducked down the inside of Pete as Pete was climbing down the wall. And got to say that it's probably just as well Stephen Richards wasn't tucked in behind him, Alan.
Yes, indeed. You know, you've got to say also that if our
the caution here with 43 laps down with Terry Wyhoon, the race leader in this Auscar event, brought to us by Goodyear, followed by Marshall Brewer in second place. Mark Seaton in the 23 car, the first of the Fords in position number 3. In position number 4, car number 9 is Bruce Williams. He's followed in 5th spot, car number 3, Grant Monday. Then the third.
That your efforts early in the race might help you attract some sponsor dollars come out for the next one?
Yeah, well, we do need a sponsor, and if someone can get behind us, it'd be nice. We're doing it, you know, with no money at the moment, and you're up with the league group. So, anyhow.
Tyres. So while the lap cars go around, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back at the Calder Thunderdome. Clinging tenuously to his
the green.
Up through the gearbox they come. Terry Wyhoon, a good start again. Brewer goes with him. Bruce Williams is leading the next bunch, but have a look at Faulkner on the outside.
Faulkner got the great jump then. Great jump on the restart. And again, they've all just skipped away from Steve Richards. He's got a little bit to learn on the restart tactics. But that's understandable.
Monday looking down the side of Williams. Can't do it. Faulkner on the outside of Marshall J. Brewer in second position. Charging down past him and takes over second place. Brewer back into third. Faulkner stays low just to drive the point home to Brewer that there's no coming back. There's 5 cars, as you can plainly see, opening a gap on the rest of the field.
The methodical task of persevering and chipping away a tenth at a time to get back up on that lead group that he was on before. But it's just experience. You know what gear to be in, to know what revs to have on board, to know when the other guys are going to get on the throttle so that you can go with them.
A lot of respect out there tonight. There's no desperado stuff. There's a long way to go, and they're playing it right.
Yes, but there's certainly.
Thank you very much.
It is some degree of fitness is absolutely necessary. Any of these forms of motorsport that where there's any endurance involved. And it's not so much that you have to be strong for a long time or stamina for a long time. It's a fact of being fit enough so that you can concentrate all that time that's required.
Moving about there.
Just a little bit.
The car moving about and forcing Faulkner up onto the high line.
So the skills being displayed here tonight at Thunderdome.
Down the inside once more of Terry Wyhoon.
Yeah, yet another pass. Williams is looking a bit edgy too. He looks like he wants to put a pass on the Wyhoon.
Williams has really psyched himself up for this race, having made that huge financial decision that he's not going to work for a living anymore. He's going to be a professional racing driver. There's a lot lying on tonight.
Yes, most certainly.
Wyhoon was the race leader at the 50-lap mark, the halfway distance. Right now, battles for the lead with Marshall J. Brewer and Bruce Williams. Down comes Faulkner past Williams again. Monday on the outside. Williams turn into the meat in the sandwich.
second best in that little episode. He got a little high, but he pulled it straight back down the oval.
And I'd say within 5 laps of the restart, we will see the leaders starting to go through the back markers in this particular field. Jamie Hollier sitting at the back there in the 15 car of Falcon. He's had to substitute his engine for a Cleveland engine and is down in horsepower at the moment.
Well, there's, I can see...
dynamics of the car. According to Faulkner, coming down the back straight, he's about 200 RPM down on what he was with the VP body. So the aerodynamics are holding the body, holding the car back a little bit, he says.
That surprises me. I think you'll find that, they'll get that back. They've obviously got something just a little askew. I'm sure that speed will come back, or that straight line speed. Body car manufacturers don't make slower aerodynamic cars as the years go on.
Amazingly, comments from Lee Watkins, who's now with the new XR8 style body on his car. His comments were almost identical. So it's they're all coming into shape, but a lot of them looking forward to having the opportunity to try their cars out in the wind tunnel at the new facility here in Melbourne at the Monash University.
Oh, and they'll pick up a lot. They really will pick up a lot. But bear in... Yeah, that's close. Bear in mind that, you know, the previous shape, they've been racing and testing and practicing and qualifying and developing for more than 12 months. And this one's only 5 minutes old, and they've already been restricted in their testing time because of the inclement weather here.
In some cases, testing has been limited to absolutely zilch. Some cars reporting as few as 7 to 10 laps, and it really doesn't get a whole lot of seat time and a whole lot of testing time.
Well, there it is. It's taken all of that time and all those laps for Richards to get back on the lead 5, and he's persevered, picked up tenths here and there, and he's back on the lead bunch, just from a restart. 58
laps down. Grant Monday in the lead in this race.
That's a great effort. There's Richards, just about onto that lead pack. And there's Pretty look like he's closing on Richards as well. This has come into the top 10.
Benson's a very interesting driver, stepping up. It's his rookie year in Auscar, but certainly not to super speedway racing. He was in Sportsman prior to that. I think ended up 7th after losing 1 race of the series last year. Prior to that, he was a short tracker in speed cars.
60 laps down now, 40 remaining. Sooner rather than later, they're going to have to start to contemplate. Not quite the speed of the red-hot roaring NAS cars, but at the same stage, an excellent development class. One which has a lot of prestige in it as well. Terry Wyhoon opens that momentary gap. 0.75 of a second from Marshall Brewer, with Grant Monday 3rd, Bruce Williams 4th rather.
John, one of the cars that I'll be very interested in watching during its pit stop will be the car that's 04 car running in 7th position at the moment, driven by Nigel Benson. He's got some young blokes working with him. Some of them are 16 to 18 years of age, and they've been trained by DEET program over in South Australia on the techniques and requirements of pit stops, because after all, in Group A in this country, and certainly in some of the categories here, it's professional motorsport, and mechanics are employed and pit stop people are employed, and it's an interesting little innovation. I think it shows a little bit of very good thinking on somebody's behalf over there in the DEET program in South Australia, but they've been trained, and I said only 16 or 18. They'll actually be doing the wheel changes on that car during the pit stop. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is interesting, in fact, to see how the education system is creeping its way into motorsport and legitimising the sport as well. For example, at Bathurst last weekend,
the efficiency and the exactness of that the repairs that took place on those factory BMWs. They were just amazed.
John Faulkner now in a 2nd position. In front of him is Marshall J. Brewer. Even earlier this year, Alan, the Mazda team, the winning Mazda team in the James Hardy 12 Hour, used a group of school kids as their pit crew.
And apprentices.
Yeah,
yes.
apprentices too.
They look for apprentices throughout their dealerships, and they take them to Bathurst, and they actually do the work up there.
It's a great idea, isn't it? It's good to see that motorsport is actually being used to develop the industry in Australia.
Well, motorsport is an industry. There is an industry. I mean, there are a lot of professional people involved, not just drivers, but the mechanics, the crew chiefs, the engine tuners, machinists, tyre technicians.
Look at this for the lead, 3 of them side by side. Pardon my voice. That's something else again, isn't it? And realise that these guys are now on the last vestiges of good rubber. They have done 68 laps around the Calder Thunderdome, and their rubber, their tyres, must be shredding. It must be right down to just about the last bit of use you can get out of those tyres. All of them hanging out, I hate to say it, for somebody to let go, bring out the yellows so they can all duck to the pits. No one wants to give up the advantage and go to the pits under the green.
I think you're right, because Pretty, Benson and Benson have both moved past Richard, so he's probably battling with a rear tyre that's going off in front, that's going off. But you're quite right, there'll be some different styles come into play here. Those that have been a little nicer, or those that have got a setup in their car that's a little squarer and places the weight of the car equally or more equally on the 4 wheels, will find that they've got a much better race car to drive now.
Grand Monday back in the lead, and that's the 20th lead change of the race. Sensational motor racing here at the Calder Thunderdome. Look at the battle for 3rd place.
And at lap number 70, it's Grant Monday, race leader of the Goodyear Auscar 200, followed by Marshall Brewer, Williams.
Yellow flag out.
Caution.
Yellow flag out right at lap 70, just when people wanted it. I don't see any debris out there, but I'll bet you any money I like that the officials have been able to find something good enough to justify that yellow coming out.
Well, the way some of the cars look, there could be some lumps of rubber. Richard certainly slipped back about 8 seconds off that lead pack, and
Sport operator has withdrawn the flag, so we should see him come back.
Marshall Brewer didn't come in. Marshall Brewer is staying out now. That's interesting. I don't believe he can go around. Maybe he's just trying to. He'll go around in next lap, and he should probably have his own.
Here's your 04 car with your deed kids working on it, Alan.
Yes, and no mad rush. There's a girl pulling it off. No, not a long-haired boy. There's, yeah, look, that's pretty good. They're not rushing, which is half the thing. You can get into strife when you rush.
First car out is John Faulkner. So Faulkner wins the battle of the pits. Behind him going out is Terry Wyhoon.
Have they got a problem? No, they've not. They're away. Out. They're away. Oh, that's great.
So Wyhoon, the second one out of the pits. John Faulkner, the first.
Whoop, Stephen, don't pass him. No.
Come to the pits, but 1 lap down on the rest of the field. So he's taken his pit stop 1 lap after everyone else. It won't put him a lap behind, but it will put him at the tail of the pack. Now, why would you do something like that, Alan Grice?
A dubious decision. He's probably thought there'd be some advantage in coming into a basically empty pit lane, but then finds himself on the back of the queue. Still with 40 laps to go, it's certainly not too far, but I'm sorry, 30 laps to go, isn't it? Or slightly less. But it's still a strange decision. And I've got to say that the Benson car,
The Friday before was in fact Dean Wanless, and our thanks to Double R Motors for getting him back on the track tonight.
The answer on Seaton, of course, is that he came in on the previous yellow when Peter Fitzgerald. They're not racing until they cross the start-finish line. 25 laps remaining. Seaton takes the lead and really jumps at it. Here comes 46. John Faulkner down the outside. Quickly gathers up second position behind Seaton. Grant Monday looking for a way around the outside.
The stop and go to Anthony Leach, I've just noticed, was brought back into the pits. I'm not sure what the infringement was, but he's back on the circuit at the back of the pack.
This has certainly thrown the placings around, because some of those cars, I'm sure, haven't come in. They haven't come in.
Look at this, Seaton on the outside, Faulkner on the inside. Faulkner saying, give me racing room, and he takes it forcibly. Behind Seaton now comes Wyhoon. Then Monday.
Oh, we've got a fire in the wall. We've got a car in the wall very hard.
Looks like
Rod Jane. On fire. It's Rod Jane, yes.
The car very much, as Alan said, on fire. He's heading down the low line there. And what has ruptured, I'm not sure. They're dispatching
well, he certainly hit hard.
Gone in hard. He's obviously got no brakes in He's got no brakes. He can't bring it to a stop. So the best thing is what he's going to do and just get out of it.
Yeah, goodbye, says Rod.
Yep. On the top, over the wall.
Very smart idea to get out that side.
Yep.
So he's away from the race
Marshals
cars.
are there very, very quickly. Now there's another car down on the inside of the fence. I don't know if he spun and kept going or whether he's still obscured from our view and stopped up in that turn 1, turn 2 area.
Alan, given the fact that you've just charged into a fence at more than 200 kilometres an hour, that your car has caught fire, that you've got no brakes and no steering, what goes through your mind that tells you to get out of the car, walk over the roof and stand on the safety fence rather than just jumping for your life?
One of the first things that goes through your mind are rude words. But here we are. Oh, it's a bump too. There's Wyhoon involved, Mundy involved, and I think you'd have to say that
Matthew White's the other one.
Yes, and you'd have to say that Jane was an innocent party there. He just got bumped straight up into the wall. He had nowhere to go. That's unfortunate. You see it again.
Have another look at it from another view. And
there's a car down spinning on the infield.
That's Mundy.
That's Mundy.
Yeah. That was Mundy. I think it appeared to me as though Mundy and Wyhoon tried to dive underneath Kim. It's not Kim, it's Rodney Jane. And I would think that he would be the innocent party in that one. But I'd like to see that first.
Okay, so here you are right in the middle of the field there.
There's Wyhoon bumping Mundy, and Mundy goes bang straight up. Yep. Innocent bystander. Rodney, not your fault.
I've just, yeah, gee. Frightening. Probably, Alan, fair to say that the race driver's worst enemy, fire.
Oh, there's no question it was. That's the worst thing. It's the only thing that I've ever worried about in a car is fire.
Right, cars.
Well, we can see that Rodney's right up high on the left, minding his own
there's
business.
Wanless.
The two on the bottom, 21 and 28. Exactly correct.
Yes.
They come together, and the back of the 28 car pushes Rodney up the wall. Innocent bystander.
The car that young Matty White, 21 years of age, is hoping to campaign with some great success this year. White's certainly one of the up-and-coming young chargers of the Auscar series. Remaining, Matthew White comes back to the pits, so I'd suggest that he's discovered that the damage is a little more severe than the team had hoped for.
He's bearing quite a few scars in that near side front door, and of course now about to change the left rear tyre. So maybe come in and thought, no, he doesn't want to miss out, taking advantage of the pace car situation, and the pace car is in fact...
And with the pace car coming out, Matthew White will only just make it out in front and save himself from being lapped.
Yeah, it may have been a bit of strategy, I think.
Nothing to do now but put their pedal right down to the floor and really go for it.
Yeah, and the form-up order is Faulkner, Seaton, Wyhoon, Mundy, Wiley, Davies, Williams, Pretty, Richards, and Wanless in 10th.
And we're racing with 16 remaining in the Goodyear Auscar 200.
Here comes Wyhoon straight through Seaton, who really bogged down. Monday up into third position. Faulkner in the lead.
We'll have a little bit of a sort-out period while that front running 5 or 6 just get through some of these cars that are stacked up because of their stopping order. And you can see how it's a little awkward to see as you're going through all of that kitty litter, but certainly Faulkner's jumped in front with Wyhoon behind him and Mundy. But a little bit of confusion behind it. They'll sort themselves out, I feel, back into that top 6 that we saw before.
Lloyd McDonald at the back of the pack in car number 30. First time he's been at Thame to see the green and the checkered flag, he tells me.
Wyhoon now starts to stalk John Faulkner. Faulkner had opened a gap, but Wyhoon's pulled it right back. He's bringing Monday along with him. Left foot braking, right foot always on the throttle, dancing on both pedals.
I can't do that.
Definitely problems for Matty White. Back into more service in the pits in car number 20.
It seems to be... Whoa, there's Wyhoon's done it almost by himself.
He's gone.
Yeah, but which way's it going to spin?
Oh,
back and he's correct. Come on, keep it going, son.
Well done, but they've gone high and gone low, and there's a yellow out because it's very difficult to hit a moving target up the back straight there. You see a couple of them had to go out.
Caution number 5.
And it's rain, that's why he spun.
Ah.
Rain.
It's rain. Waihoon went in very, very hard into that corner, and I thought he'd just overdone it because the tail stepped out, but apologies for that. It's rain on the track. That stepped the car out, and boy, Waihoon did a superb job to keep it off the wall.
Lap 89.
And it was coming slowly across the track, Alan. You spoke of that experience at the opener of tonight's show, and that's exactly what's happened here. It was only on part of the circuit. Here it goes. The back steps out.
Yep, there it is, and I think that's just that touch of rain, and he really does do a great job here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Monday does the right thing as well. He aims for where the car is.
Yeah, so does the next guy, I think. Yeah. Yes, well, you can see him change his mind as well, I'd say.
Yeah, changing gears and back up through the gearbox. I mean, gee, what a discipline these guys are starting to get amongst themselves.
Yeah, no, that was great driving, not designed to dry the track off either.
No,
Waihoon, I guess, in some sort of a quandary at the moment too, because he must have flat spotted his tyres with that lose.
I would think so, yes.
So at the moment he's bumping around the track rather than rolling around it.
Yes.
And he's thinking to himself, should he come in, change rubber and get back out there again, falling to the back of the field or not?
However, if he does come in, John.
Here's another view of it.
Just the tail out.
Yes.
Out. Oh, he's
Around.
just a bit of overcorrection there. That's the only
Monday goes
criticism. But here he knows exactly where he's going.
Grabbing
He's pulled
the
a
gears.
gear.
Yep.
Now another little sort out. I think that was Williams went by, was
Bruce
it?
Williams, yeah.
And Seaton's gone by.
Answering the question, why wouldn't he take the advantage under the yellows and come in and take new tyres?
Well, if it continues to rain, of course they could call the race.
Yes.
So if he ducks in now and gets some nice fresh tyres on, gets on back on the back of the grid, on the back of the...
Waihoon after his great recovery, and Mick Webb wearing #1 in 10th spot.
Yes,
This new Musco lighting here and controls shortly. They may decide to give us 3 clear or 5 clear racing laps. So
Boy, would they be something else again.
yeah, it still looks pretty...
strip. Unfortunately not here tonight, but something for the future.
I think you could use it on your clothes down here in Victoria.
What was that again?
I think you could use it to dry your clothes here in Victoria. I think the crowd is just magnificent tonight. I can't imagine how many people will be here on a nice warm summer night to watch.
Rounding up the top 10, Mick Webb. Now, if the race is called at this stage, that will be the official placings, and they will be the drivers who receive the first round point score. And it's most important, Al, because every race needs to be the winner if you want to
stop tonight, which got him out first.
Caution. First was right back at the beginning, in 1988, when Terry Sawyer took the checker under a caution as well. So that's an indication of how consistent motor. Next was Grant Monday, then Bruce Williams, then Mark Seaton in the Falcon from Marshall Brewer, Jason Wiley in 6th, Stephen Richards in his debut